everyone, and welcome to Once Upon an Upside on the Hallmarkies podcast. I am Kari, your host, and I have Kaycee and Cami here with me today.
Hello!
We're back together. This is so much fun, but you know,
this is dangerous.
We love reviewing movies together. So as you know, in the Hallmarkies podcast, once a month we jump networks and we go to the UPtv channel and we review their movies that they premiere on Sunday nights. So it is a lot of fun. They have charming movies over there, and we have 4 to talk about today. Should we just jump in? Should we just get into these movies?
We should jump in. We should jump in head first, feet first, however, whatever you want to do.
Just dive.
We're just going right in. The first movie that we need to talk about today is called Love's Second Chance. And it's with Gabrielle Christian and Cody Ray Thompson, who were both very new to me. I have never seen them in anything else.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to read the description of these because I think that, interestingly enough, these descriptions are wacky. And let me just read it. I did not see this movie. Let's just say that. I did not see this movie. So listen to what this description says. When Rose, a passionate fashion stylist in her 30s living in New York, inherits her grandmother's vintage dress shop, she returns to her small hometown to take care of the store. As she's contemplating closing the store for good, she runs into her charming high school crush, Cole, who convinces her to restore the store and help people in need that can't afford new clothes. After hesitantly agreeing, the two friends reminisce about their old feelings and realize that the store is not the only thing that deserves a second chance, but so does their love. What?
What movie did I watch?
They didn't date before, right? They never
They never dated. She had a really big crush on him, and he was the really popular athlete.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they didn't date. So I'm like, what second chance? This is like first chance. Anyway.
It's a second trial, maybe?
Giving somebody a second chance to prove that they're not a bro. They're not a jerk.
Because that's what she thought of him as. That is how she thought of him, that he was just a jock who was too cool for her. So
but she had a crush on him. So like it makes it okay. Like I don't know. I don't know. I have
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but did he come up with her business idea? Or did she come up with her business idea?
She did.
Why does this description give him the credit? I'm so annoyed at this description. Okay.
Moving on.
Kaycee, what were you going to say?
This was interesting. Like sometimes you sit and you watch a movie and you go, I'm glad that they worked it out in the end, but I don't know that their relationship's going to last more than like 6 months. That's kind of how I felt. I did not dig this. I did not dig the couple at all. I did not buy it.
Yeah.
I just didn't buy it. And like I wrote here, Cole messed up and he says, I blew it. And I said, yeah, you did, bro. The paperwork wasn't important to you. So you were like, okay. I'm like, dude, we are all adults here. If you like, of course
I can understand. I mean, it was like this opposites attract thing where he's supposed to be the playful, I've got the list in my head, fly by the seat of my pants type of guy, but you're still an adult with.
There are things that you have to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
If you are, and it's like, it's a job. It's not even I forgot to get milk from the grocery store.
Right.
It's, you know that it was important to her. Like, what in the world? I would have dumped him if it were me. The movie would have ended. I would have been like, bye. No second chance for you.
Okay, to be fair, their relationship it worked for me in the sense that they obviously clash. They're opposites. They're attract, obviously at the beginning, but they do they rub off on each other. She gets more playful by the end. He gets a little more like he makes lists. He gets a little more responsible, except he forgets this big thing. Like he gets on time, like he makes it to their meetings on time each time. Like that's a funny little joke that they have together. So I don't know, that kind of worked for me a little bit, that they kind of were rubbing off on each other and making each other better. But then you have this big thing at the end. I don't know. I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah. I also wrote, this is probably terrible. I wrote the line where somebody says to her, "Do you love him enough to forgive him?" I said, "Nope."
Kaycee is ruthless.
I did not like his character. He was just really annoying to me. And I've seen it done well, where you do have the polar opposites and you have the one that's maybe a little more playful and flighty and just like, flies by the seat of their pants, and you have somebody who's super like type A personality, and it works. But this one just did not.
She still did everything. She still did. Like she steered the relationship. She was the one at the end who even said, "I can't see my life without you." I mean, he was getting gold in this girl. I mean, he better count his blessings with this girl. She was amazing.
Can we stick in the fact that he's living with his brother?
Oh, that's right. Times are hard.
I mean, he's paying for house and home, though. He's doing all the like home projects that his brother needs him to do, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so were there anything you did like about this movie? Anything that like had a little redeeming value to you? A character, a scene, an outfit? We're grasping at straws here a little bit with Love Second Chance.
I'm sorry. There's nothing I liked about this movie.
Did you really?
I really didn't like it. I'm sorry. The acting, okay, like the actors, because I don't know who they are. Like they did fine. They did, that was probably the best part of the movie was the acting. Like it was, they were jiving. Like they were given the script and they were, they did what they could with it. So points there. Oh, except for I have to say the investor lady Lindsay with her fake posh accent. I'm like, who talks like that anymore?
Lindsay does.
Apparently Lindsay talks like that.
Lindsay, the celebrity backer, like I don't know, wasn't she the investor or something?
Yeah, I'm like, are you?
Yeah, she was the investor, but she was supposed to be this big celebrity in the fashion world, and nobody acted like that when she was around. It's like, is this supposed to be a big thing that she's here?
I was like, are you kind of trying to be like Devil Wears Prada, but the young version of Meryl Streep? Like
young version?
I don't know. I
don't know either.
Okay, so one thing that I did like is he seemed to loosen up.
He did.
At the very beginning of the movie, he seemed very stiff to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I watched the movie, the softer and looser and more comfortable he looked, and the more comfortable he felt. Mm-hmm. I wasn't crazy about it, but I did like the dancing scene.
Yes.
When he says every girl in our senior class was crazy on. Shall we? I'm like, okay, that's good. That's good. I will say though that the trouble that I had was a lot of the writing. When they're talking about names, he said, your name is your identity. It's who you are. And she said, I never thought about it that way. Hello?
You mean
duh. Your name gives you your identity and you never thought about it that way. Okay.
You know what?
What you guys were saying about the whole, it wasn't important to me at the time. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh my goodness.
Shouting at the TV.
No, I think you're right, because there's this scene that like it should have been super cute. You know, she can't reach something on a shelf, and so he reaches over her and gets it and stuff, and
Yeah.
she says something like, do you like me? And then she goes, I mean, do you like this? And then he said, yeah, I think you're really great. I mean, I think
it's really great.
And the way they could have made that really funny, I think, but they made it awkward and weird. And I was like, that's just, all of it's just weird. Like, it could have been funny, but it wasn't supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be sweet. I didn't know if it was very sweet or not. I did like a couple of the lines that the brother had, though. This brother was very smooth for being a little dorky. He like had these smooth little lines that he wooed her friend with and stuff. Her friend and Rose and her friend have this connection, and they like have this business plan and they want to get right on it. But then the friend and the brother were supposed to go on a date, and the friend turns to the brother and says, do you mind? Like, I'm going to postpone our date. Do you mind? And he says the best line. He says, that I'm dating a go-getter? Not at all. Like,
that was cute.
Yeah.
I did love the brother. Yeah. I loved her brother. I thought that there were some moments where interactions felt a little unnatural. It was too quiet, like entrances. You know, someone comes in the door, you turn around and see who's there, not wait for them to be 2 steps behind you and then, oh, you're here. You know? So that part was a little unnatural, but for the most part, he kept things really light.
He did. So yeah, this was a you know, it was a little bit of a slow pace. It was a little bit like you knew what was coming, but you know, nothing super special. I didn't think necessarily. I don't know, Kaycee, what would you rate this? We rate out of 10 stars here on Once Upon a Upside, and I don't know. You already said you didn't like it. What's that?
No. I give it a 2.
Okay, 2. We've done that before on the podcast. Sorry, Up, but okay, 2. Tell us why.
Okay. At the risk of sounding really awful and really mean, it was just boring. The script was dry. It was stilted. It was boring. Like, there was nothing, like you said, there was nothing really, like, there was no spark there. And I already didn't really care for his character. Because, like who does that? And, like, if y'all don't know who I am a very, like, I organized obsessively, like, did you do that? Did you make sure that got sent in? Like, annoyingly so. I know it's a fault, like, because I get really annoying, but like the fact that he didn't even care enough to, like, it wasn't even a good excuse. He's like, oh, I forgot. Like, no, you don't just forget. So,
okay, 2 out of 10 from Kaycee. Cammie, what about you?
Probably a 3.
Okay, a 3. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
I mean, something like I was talking about, the interactions seemed a little off. For instance, the movie night, fabulous idea. The getting all of the firefighters together with their families. Once a month doing an old movie, and it was a Charlie Chaplin movie where he was playing a firefighter. Fabulous idea, fabulous topic, fabulous scene in potential. But then this little bell rings and it is so shocking that everybody just goes, ah! It's a bell. It's not that startling that popcorn should go everywhere. If it was a blaring horn or something, okay, but
Right.
it's just a few things. And then, one big thing that bothered me was the brother and the friend saying, "Your face is all red." No, it's not. You know, if you're gonna say the face is red, then call cut, put some more blush on her, and then say action. You know?
Yes. Oh, you should have directed this movie. Well, I was a little more generous than you guys. 3.5 is what I gave Love's Second Chance. There were a few problems with the plot. There were a few problems with the writing, a few problems with the acting, but I did think it was a little slow. But there were moments that I was entertained. There were moments that I was like, oh, that's cute. But those often were the times that I wanted them to lean into the scene a little bit more. Lean into that, show us her hand gets burned. It's like this montage and music's playing. You can't hear anything. Her hand gets burned and he takes care of her. I'm like, I want to hear what they're saying. I want to hear
that was cute. That was very cute.
So I give mine a 3.5. So a little bit of a rough start in January here for UPtv, but let's keep going.
We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. The second movie that we're going to review is Fishing for Love with Andrea Brooks and Spencer Lord. Let me read the synopsis. When Kendall, a successful restaurant designer, comes home to Mystic Bay for the annual Big Catch Festival, she finds herself in uncharted waters with the town newcomer, Zach. Is Kendall baited for trouble in her hometown, or will she catch true love? Fishing for Love. I have to tell you, one thing I loved about this movie was the color scheme.
Yes.
They had such a beautiful nautical color scheme with the oranges and the blues and the light blues and the navies and the yellows it stood out to me with the costuming, with the set design. It was thematic and I thought it was great.
I loved when Kendall sat down and changed her shoes. I thought that would set a real tone for the movie. She's saying, "Okay, I'm out of the city. I'm home now," and she changes her shoes. I thought that was
shoes because she really is a hometown girl at heart. She lives in the big city now, but she comes and she's a hometown girl.
And she just stuffs them in her purse. I thought that was a really good moment.
Never to wear heels the rest of the movie, I don't think. She was great.
Which is a dream role for someone like me who cannot stand in heels to save my life. So.
Okay, wait, though. We get a meet cute in the city, though. Even though this is a Mystic Bay kind of hometown movie, we get a meet cute. What did you think of that meet cute?
The whole, he dangles his keys, like, I catch what I eat. Clever. And there's also almost being accosted by a board.
She almost gets
yes.
When physical violence is involved, it's usually a little catchy.
Well, they like a physical comedy there.
Yeah, they were interested. They were cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A really quick question: Is this Andrea Brooks's first leading role in a rom-com? Because I was looking through her IMDb and I I want to say it is, but I could have missed something.
Oh, that is such a good question.
It might be, because everything that's coming to my brain, she's a supporting role.
Yeah. Because like I liked her as the leading lady. I'm like, we need more Andrea Brooks. We
always need more Andrea.
We need more Andrea. We love Andrea. Yeah. But I thought she did a fantastic job in this role, especially as like the first leading project.
Yeah.
And I also just have to say, when I saw the title Fishing for Love, all the puns started coming to mind.
Of course.
Like, he's a good catch.
It was a whaley good movie.
My gosh. Oh. I thought I was bad.
Okay, though. Wait.
See you later.
Okay.
Did you do that on purpose?
Let's time out with this Fishing for Love. They asked for it though with this title. This was crazy. But what did you think?
Best titled movie. Appropriately titled. There was fish, there was bait, it was involved. It made sense to me, because some of these titles, I mean, and this is for any network, sometimes the title you're like, wait, what?
Sometimes the titles are stretching it, but this one, you got exactly what you were expecting.
Absolutely. Which was fun. I thought that was fun. Okay, so we have Zach. Zach is the main character, Spencer Lord. I thought he was adorable. I loved him.
Oh yeah.
I thought he was so adorable. He was such a good dad. You know, he's a widower. He was trying to get involved in the community, but he was kind of being cold-shouldered. Like, the tight-knit community was not letting him in. So then when Andrea's character Kendall comes home, she starts to kind of help him out and introduce him around and give him insights and stuff. But she has an ulterior motive here, because she wants him to buy her dad's boat. Right.
Yeah. That was actually the introducing him around town. That was one scene that bothered me. When they go to the bait shop and they're talking to Benny, the owner of the bait shop, Benny says there is simply no room for another permit. It's full. And then all of a sudden, with a couple of words from Kendall, there's magically another slot for Zach to have. Like, wait a second. You know, I mean, that one scene, because I loved all the Goodwill stuff. I loved the breadboard. I loved that he was a woodworker and giving her the anchor. That was adorable. I loved all of that. But that one Goodwill scene, like, no, that does not fit.
Yes.
That didn't fit to me, because you're all of a sudden going to do a 180 and change your mind just because Kendall was talking pretty. Like,
right.
I don't think so.
Well, she was a hometown girl, and they do stuff for each other, I guess. I don't know. Reinforced the tight-knit community.
Yeah.
That he definitely became a part of, though, which was really sweet. Even on his own, you know, he was kind of helping other people out, and
he got the boost from Kendall, and then he kept going on his own.
And his daughter helped him out too. I mean, she was super sweet, little girl. And
Ariel.
Of course.
Kaycee, what did you think about
the sea?
Fishing for Love?
You know, it was a very cute. It was a very cute movie. Definitely, you know, after a rough start, I'm like, okay, we're picking it back up. The one thing, the interrupted kisses. How many interrupted kisses did we have in this movie?
5?
Like a bajillion.
3.
I will say, there was one interrupted kiss that I appreciated, because it kind of, they almost kind of like made fun of themselves in a way. like in the writing where she basically says, oh, I was actually gonna turn that off.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can appreciate that because that is awkward if you're kissing and your phone's like beep, 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 you gotta like silence it.
Yeah, but they didn't go back to it after it had been silenced.
Yes, that was the missed opportunity, but I could appreciate the conversation that happened instead of the awkward like, oh,
this never happened.
What were we doing?
Right. Yes, we do. We have 3 interrupted kisses here, and we were prepared for it because a friend of ours had texted us and said, this guy can't finish a kiss. Like this guy
finish a kiss.
And so I was prepared for it, and I was counting. I was like 3. That's so unheard of because they're very frustrating. But for as sunny and as sweet as her personality was, which can sometimes be annoying, but this, I feel like she pulled it off. She just really was a very optimistic kind of go-getter character.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you still, though, if you were a business owner, owned your own business, wouldn't you still freak out if your phone fell in the water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would freak out even if I'm not a business owner because we have so many things in there.
She sure just didn't care. She was like, "Whoa, it's fine." They didn't even fish it out of the water.
Oh, that's right.
It's okay.
No big deal. Oh, we could just put it in a bag of rice. It'll work in about 24 hours.
So funny to me. So
no,
funny.
She had a new one sent down.
But to that point, her assistant or friend or whoever it was like freaked out and like just went over there. I'm like,
you've never not answered your phone.
But the thing is, like, I'm like, Kendall, send your people an email, like, drop the phone in the lake. If you need something, call my dad. Like, you don't want people thinking you're dead, especially if you're constantly in contact.
Well, honestly, I thought the pacing was good. The pacing was fine. We're all leading up to this big catch, and then there's these problems that happen with the festival. The food is not delivered on time or something. The boats get crashed in a storm, and everyone kind of pulls together. That's great. That's fine. I just don't know though about I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying except that it was just fine. Like that part was fine. I just thought that they pulled it off well. The two of them and their relationship carried this movie for me. Yeah. So the whole like community thing that they were trying to build.
I had one major problem with the movie. Just one. And it was the conflict. The conflict of her and her dad overhearing the thing about the parts and the boat.
Yeah.
And then the next day, she's just like, I don't think we should talk. And I'm like, you need to talk. Like, what? Come on. Did that have to be the conflict? Couldn't it have been something different?
Yeah.
Maybe something a little meatier than, selling the boat for parts. Like, I understand that would be really jarring, especially if it's something that's very meaningful to your family and you feel like, oh, I told this person like how much this thing meant to us. And like, I really didn't want them to sell, but at the end of the day, you gave it to them at the risk of knowing that they could do whatever they want with the boat. And then like the whole miscommunication. The fact that
there wasn't enough, there was not nearly enough info. I mean, for most one-sided conversations, there's enough to assume. There was not enough to assume that he was going off the deep end. And let's not forget that the boat had just been very badly damaged.
Yeah. Like maybe that was the best idea. Maybe that was the only thing the boat could do now is be sold for parts. But even still, I think the overhearing something and assuming the worst about this person you're starting to like only works if you start off with a contentious relationship. And they did not start off with a
Yeah.
contentious relationship. They started off on actually really good footing. And she got to know him, and he was a great guy. And he gave her no reason except that he was an outsider
to not trust him.
To assume that he was going to go back on his word in this thing. So that kind of fell flat. That conflict fell a little flat.
Yeah. And I just was like, oh, come on.
Okay, though, didn't they have pretty cute scenes together as far as like they're fishing on the boat with his daughter Ariel? I thought that was a really cute scene. They had a couple like dates, like where he bought her coffee, and they're walking around, and they baked a little bit together, or not baked, they cooked together the chowder. They had some cute chemistry.
They did. And he did wipe a crumb off of her face. So, we all know how much we love that.
That's the Hallmark love language of physical touch. Wiping the food off the face.
It is. You are right.
I really I usually don't like the endings of movies where somebody gets proposed to, because I'm like, you guys have known each other for like 3 seconds here. But I feel like it worked in this movie because you can tell that there was a time jump without them saying that there was a time jump. Yeah. So
because if the restaurant, this new restaurant is done, finished, designed, fully staffed, like all this stuff. So that time went on.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Kaycee. I actually liked the ending too a lot. I thought it was really sweet.
Well, and that the ring was on the bottom of the anchor.
Yeah,
because for a split second, I thought maybe he's not proposing.
But then there it was.
And because he handed her a box. I'm like, okay, that could be a ring box, but it looks too big. And then she pulls out what was it? A keychain?
Keychain?
Yeah.
Like an anchor keychain?
An anchor keychain? Yeah. So she pulls it out, and I thought, oh, it's an anchor, that. And I'm like, maybe he's not proposing. And then whoop, there it is. So they had the element of surprise on me there.
Yeah.
So
they made
even if it was just for a split second.
They made their relationship official.
They did. I don't even have any in my head. I'm like, I can't even think that fast.
Oh, we need to wait till this tide blows over.
Okay. Kaycee, do you have a rating?
I do. I put this at 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
I enjoyed the movie, and it was above average for me. 5 would be average. So I pushed it over. I really, really love Andrea Brooks. Like their chemistry together. Like you said, the scenery was beautiful. It was like the conflict. That was what kind of brought it down. But it was cute. I mean, I'd watch it again. I'd watch it with my girls when they're a little, older and appreciate the rom-coms.
That's
they're
fun.
like 8, 9, 10.
Cami, what about you?
I'm with Kaycee. Probably somewhere between 6 and 6.5 starfish.
Oh, okay.
Love. Well, I put mine. I'm a little higher than you guys again, but I put mine at a 7, a solid 7. This is a cute movie with 2 great leads. Like you said, beautiful scenery, fun relationship development, and a really cute little girl. So I thought it had a really fun elements to create just a great viewing experience. And then there were just a few things that you're like, oh, wait, not that. Why did she? Okay, So 7 out of 10 for me for Fishing for Love.
Fantastic.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Merch Store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies Merch Store.
full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Kari from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
We are going Love on the Road. Love on the Road is our third movie that we need to review here with Erin Cahill and Jesse Hutch. You guys, already, I loved it because of these two already. And
yeah, this one was very promising with just the feature of it being Erin and Jesse. I said, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna like this one.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let me read the synopsis. Restaurant makeover show host Abby gets a new assignment to turn a small town diner into a place on the culinary map. As Abby and the diner owner Tom spend time together, she discovers a thing she might just call love. So that is the synopsis of Love on the Road. And honestly, I think they knocked it out of the park with this one.
They did.
They really did. This one was so good.
It was so good. Kaycee, tell us what you thought of Love on the Road.
This was so good. First of all, I'm a big Food Network fan. And so when I saw the premise of the whole like restaurant makeover thing, I'm like, oh, you're like a mini Robert Irving.
Right.
Irvine.
This was the apple of her eye.
But bump.
Kari's like, don't start it again.
But it was fun. I thought the meet cute was really funny with the sheep.
Yes.
And stuck. And here's like, you're not from around here, are you? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
We can dig a small town boy. Like, yeah. And it was so sweet. It was fun. It was sweet. It moved along. There's great banter. I mean, food's involved, of course. So I mean, like, always plus. So I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah. You know, he's a widower and he has a teenage daughter. He has this aunt, you know, this family business that he owns this diner. I kind of appreciated that I couldn't even tell you how long he's been a widower, but you could tell that it was a while. It had been a while, and they had gotten into a rhythm into their small town. He was raising this beautiful daughter. You know, they had such great conversations together, really like age appropriate talks about grief and love. And so that was a charming relationship to me, was the dad and daughter. Aunt Clara was just a hoot. I mean, Clara was the girl, but the aunt was a hoot. Like, she just was funny and
just
wacky.
So funny.
And
Aunt Marge and Clara.
Marge and Clara.
They have their girls' night to watch the restaurant makeover.
Right. It was cute. Okay, so we love Erin. We love Jesse. Do you think they had chemistry together romantically?
I do.
Do you?
I had to think about that. No, I'm just kidding. No, they totally did. They totally did. You can tell they're pros.
You can tell they're pros.
Totally tell they're pros. And like their chemistry was really, really great. Like they just really bounced off of each other. And like I think the two of them really lit up the scene. Like when they were together. It was sweet.
It was so sweet. Cami, what do you think?
I get a kick of actors pretending to want to be actors.
Yeah.
Or say, oh yeah, he wanted to be an actor when that just makes me laugh. And so putting that whole premise up there and then, you know, saying, okay, get Tom into hair and makeup, what? You know, it's funny to me to think that something that is so natural to him in real life, it's so foreign to him. Like, makeup, what? And the chemistry thing, it was even there on the phone scenes.
Ooh.
when Abby is in the bar with Kenna, and like, just so you know, Abby Billings sounds really good. And then the phone rings. Abby Billings, Brooks, Abby Brooks. That is a moment where a stuttering worked. You know, that's where the flustered words worked. She completely passed that off, and her friend's messing with her and poking at her the whole time, and she's just, stop it. It's so funny.
It was so funny.
And that's where it really plays off well to me, is when you can have chemistry when you're on camera together and when you're off camera together.
Yeah.
That has some really, really good chemistry right there. And
I agree. I loved that scene. That scene was crack up. I was so embarrassed for her, but in like an endearing way. She accidentally says his last name when she answers her phone with her. Oh my gosh. And he like chuckled, but he kind of thought it was
Abby Billings, Abby Brooks. I'm like, oh.
Billings, she's like, this is Billings. Billings. So cute. Okay, so when he like wants to cook for her, and he's kind of creating this revolutionary, like chicken parmesan. I was like, okay, choose a different dish, but that's okay. That's so this revolutionary chicken parm that he needs to have on the menu, but it's too out there and too crazy for the small town. They had such sweet chemistry there too at the table. They're talking and like leaning in for a kiss. I didn't think it was too soon. I didn't think it was awkward. I was like, that made sense to me. Like, sure.
And the interruption was real. I get so tired of it being a distant dog barking or a phone ringing. Like, nobody's seeing you. Anyway. But they actually come in.
Yeah.
The two of them actually come in. It's a good reason because the storm is starting to really blow in. Yes. And so they want to be there so that Claire is safe. And they're leaning in right there, and they're still leaned in. And he says, Tom, I didn't know they were gonna be home so soon. and then they both back up. That is a good interrupted kiss, and I don't like interrupted kisses.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I agree.
You felt the tension. You feel the tension close. They're leaning in, and you want them to finish it and stuff.
But they're not ignoring it when it does get interrupted.
And she doesn't say, I should go, like right afterwards. Like she hangs out, like she stays there. They can finish their night. You know what thing I loved? When his daughter said, it was such a teenage thing to me. She was like, do you love her? Like that was there was no in between friendship and and he's, it's a little complicated or something. I feel like there's a few more steps in between or something like that. Like, that was such a good conversation to me.
And he also says, I know you miss your mom.
Oh.
And you really want somebody like that in your life, but it takes a little bit more than that. And he was talking about it on all levels. So it was really good.
Really good.
Yeah, it was very natural. Like everything just kind of, it was very believable. All of the inner conflicts that he had, even with just like changing up the restaurant, like, the saying, if it ain't broke, why fix it? So for him, that is where opposites attract. That's where it works, when you have like this situation where one is very like anti-change and the other one's like coming to change everything, and then you have to really work together to combine the worlds, because I think Abby did a very good job with like still keeping the heart of the place, but sprucing it up and giving it new life without like totally changing all the things, so.
And he said on our interview that the pictures that they use, the family pictures and community pictures are like his family pictures, like his kids and his grandma or something. Like he said, like these were like his family pictures were just so cute to me.
That's
Well, I saw the picture of him holding a baby, and it was supposed to be Claire. I'm like, okay, that's precious that it's up in the diner.
Yes, so cute. So okay, so speaking of Food Network, didn't you love the ending as far as like what they came up with to do? Because the network is like, we like the two of you together. We want you to, have a show and stuff.
Yeah.
I would watch that show.
I would.
I would watch that show.
I totally would.
Where they go and they like go to these restaurants, then come back to their home base and try to recreate and put a spin on some restaurant's famous dish. I thought that was so cute. So
yeah, that worked.
Yeah.
Of course, there's the passed off conflict where he hears a phone conversation with one question.
Yeah.
That could have been cleared up. But so that does bother me. With one question, who were you talking about? That could have
what they were saying too, what she was saying, it like broke my heart because it was personal. It sounded like she was being, we just have this relationship for the camera,
and see, that's the thing. It fits, even though that could have been cleared up with a simple statement or a simple question, it fit.
Mm-hmm.
Everything she said worked with what had been going on with them. Maybe, she's a host, she's a TV host.
Yeah.
She's good at putting on a relationship for the camera, and
flirting for the camera. That's what they call
it.
Yeah.
And maybe she did think that he was arrogant. And so
I also think too, it's even in real life, if you were to hear that conversation, there's that conflict within you because you don't want to be like, why are you talking about me? Like, that's awkward.
Yeah,
so I can see him not wanting to address it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to, you feel hurt, but then you also kind of feel like, I don't want to be presumptuous like they're talking about me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and then he tried to address it. He tried to address it, and then they got interrupted. Remember, he said, I overheard you talking on the, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we have to go. I'm like, all right, thank you. He tried. Yes. It wasn't just a goodbye.
Right.
Yeah. Like, as much as I really hate the miscommunication because you hear one thing out of context, I feel like this one worked really well, and it didn't drag on forever. Like it was, it was settled like within an appropriate time frame.
Yes. Yeah, they just did a lot of things right with this movie and the script and the acting and how they interpreted the script even. So this was a fun movie. Cami, what would you rate this movie?
8.75.
8.75. It's a good one.
It was a really, really good one. I didn't even mention the relationship between Abby and Kenna. I loved that. I loved their relationship. So it was very comfortable, very perfect. I loved how she kept on telling her about what married life was like.
Right.
That just made me giggle.
Great characters. Kaycee, what about you?
I gave this a 9 out of 10.
Great.
No, that's so high for January. But it was so good. It was so good. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, I actually gave it a 9 out of 10 as well, because it had all the elements that I want in a good up TV movie. This one had it. And this, you can tell it's almost like, man, what if Hallmark got their hands on this one first? We have Aaron, we have Jesse, who are two Hall stars, but then Up just really, they just lucked out with getting this one, getting their name on it and stuff. This was such a good movie, I think.
This was a score for Up.
Oh, yeah. It was.
Yeah.
2 big names, a great movie, a great script, and it had a lot of those fun elements too, like we said, and great supporting cast. So I thought this was such a winner. 9 out of 10 stars. I'm hoping that like a lot of people liked it. I think that they did. It was a great movie for January.
Yeah.
So awesome. Okay. Last movie is just aired this past weekend. No. Um, anyway, Love and Where to Find It. Love and Where to Find It. Man, Elise Gaetienne, maybe is her name. Do we know how to say this name?
Maybe
No.
it's Gaetian?
I was gonna say maybe Gaetian.
Gaetienne and Clayton James, who is adorable, and I love that he's having leading man roles. I'm so happy for him. He is so sweet.
He's Kevin from When Calls the Heart, and he kind of fell off the radar, and that made us sad.
I know.
And leading man roles is very, very satisfying.
Yes. And really quick segue, Cammie, do you recognize Elise? Because
yes,
you
I
should
do recognize Elise.
Oh, good.
Well, she was from Signed, Sealed, Delivered, a movie of Signed, Sealed, Delivered, right? I wondered how big her role was that you guys would, if you would recognize her or not.
She was in oh man, what's the title of the episode? It's the 9/11 episode. She's Vanessa.
The Edge of Forever.
Yes, The Edge of Forever. She was part of the Letter Story.
Okay.
Yep.
She was one of the daughters.
Yep. And I was looking at her face because that was filmed
it was
in
bugging me. Like, who
yes.
is that?
Yes. So here's the thing: the Signed Sealed was 2014 or 2013 when it was filmed, 2014 when it released, and so it's been a while. And I'm looking at this girl, and I'm like, why do you look familiar? But your name, I don't know your name. So I looked on. I'm like looking through, and I'm like, that's the girl from Signed Sealed.
And she's had a lot of roles for Hallmark, but she always has this long hair.
Yes.
It's all one color. The makeup scheme is very different. And so I was like, who are you?
Yeah. And she's obviously more mature now, so anyways,
Yeah.
I thought that was fun when I put the connection together. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you're back.
Here she is. She's back, and she is a lead now. Okay, let me read the synopsis here of this movie, Love and Where to Find It. Two local coffee shop business owners despise each other in real life, but fall in love while unknowingly sending messages to each other through a dating app on their friend's behalf. You have me with this whole idea of a script. I will watch any movie where people are doing this. This is You've Got Mail. This is a shop around the corner. This is adorable. This is Sincerely Yours Truly, which was an amazing Up movie from 2021 last year. I will watch any movie that has this.
Yes. Now, I will say this is one movie that the title needs to be different. Like Brewing in Love or something like that, because Love and Where to Find It, like what?
Right.
That tells me nothing. Nothing. They should have at least call it like Love and Kismet or something, because
sure, something her coffee shop.
Yeah,
it's all like coincidental, So here's the thing: I was watching this with, and my son was watching it with me. He is 11. He was so
dear.
He thought it was hilarious at when they are like trying to convince their friends to be a little bit more flowery, a little bit more poetic in their responses. And the dude friend said, "Oh, I would have just written, hey."
And she said,
and then the girl also then says, "I like it when they just say, hey," like just opening the conversation. He was like hooked from that scene on. He was like, this movie's awesome.
That was a really great shot. That was a really great shot. Having the two guys walking and talking, and then they go out of the shot, and you pull in. You pull into the girls.
Times. Yeah, they did that a couple times with the running, like the girls are walking, then the guys are running and stuff.
Those were really good shots.
Yeah. Which makes me think Love and Where to Find It. I mean, they're looking out there and it's really right in front of their face. I don't know. Still doesn't work. Okay.
Fair. It worked. I'm partially sold.
Yeah. So Kaycee, being a fan of You've Got Mail,
Mhm.
how did it endear you to this movie that it was so similar in sometimes in exact words and sometimes with the exact scenes? I mean, did that endear you to it or did that bother you?
You know, it really didn't bother me because You've Got Mail was from the 90s and this is 2021. And so you have, you know, the, I even hate to say the modern element of You've Got Mail because I'm not that old, guys. But, you know, a lot
am.
of
I'm that old. And I'm that old and I totally would be like, because they would say things like, it's not personal, it's business. And that was a huge kind of interplay. And You've Got the dancing, the looking around the empty shot. I was like, that is a huge iconic scene in You've Got Mail.
Well, and having Jonah go look. Will you go look? I'm like, are you kidding me? You're copying this movie under the guise of Cyrano de Bergerac scene for scene. This is You've Got Mail with coffee.
It was parts of it were scene by scene. It was You've Got Mail, but I'll let you finish here in a second, Kaycee, but it endeared me to this movie because honestly, the whole premise of You've Got Mail, they copied Shop Around the Corner with Judy Garland years ago, like in the 40s or 50s. And they copied another one even from the 30s. I mean, this is a movie that is recycled.
Yeah.
A lot.
For that reason.
Yeah. But I think also too with the fact that like how they were communicating, I didn't really see that coming because I didn't really read the synopsis. I just kind of click and go, you know, I'm just like, okay, let's go. But I liked that element of it because I was thinking like, how are you, wait, you've already met, but then this is also 2021 and your face is on a dating app unless you steal somebody else's face. Like, what is happening here? So I liked the fact that was the thing that was new and different. They were communicating through their friends. Although I will say, if my friend had said, why don't you communicate on my behalf? I would have put myself in my friend's shoes and mimicked
a little more.
Oh, yeah. You know, and she's all like, you know, had a bad day, business. I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, she's part of the business, but like that could get kind of shady. Like, what if he asks, and I'm an overthinker. So like, what if he starts asking her actual questions when they meet? And then you're like, wait, I didn't really say that. And that actually did happen with the whole vegetarian thing.
Yes.
I'm like, if I were on a date and somebody asked me a really weird question, I'd be like, wait, what? Wait. I'd be suspicious.
Well, I kind of liked that actually. I kind of liked that she lost herself in the conversation with it, that because she liked who he was talking back. So she forgot that she was talking for her friend, and she'd be like, "Oh, I told him I was baking. I'm so sorry. I forgot for a moment that I was supposed to be you." You know, so like they acknowledged that too, which I thought was kind of nice. But what I also thought was nice that they acknowledged what the two friends said, I see you really connecting with this person. Are you sure?
Are you sure you don't want to?
Yeah. Like, are you sure you don't want to go out with them? Are you sure I'm still okay to do that? And I was like, okay, that was kind of cool. I liked that they did that in the story. Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes sense because it was a little weird because I'm like, ooh, you know, if I were that character, I'd be like, ooh, connections and this can be tricky with your best friend. But the fact that they actually address it was really, really nice to see.
That was good. That was really good. Yeah. Okay. So anything else like work for you in this movie? Did you think they had chemistry? Did you like how they definitely had more chemistry online than they did face to face, because obviously that was supposed to be the thing. But he gets her over that. He helps her out with the store. He really starts to warm her up to the idea of liking him because he likes her.
Yeah, I like their chemistry. I really enjoyed the two of them together. I really enjoyed the storyline. I like the fact that they were like the enemies to friends trope idea. And then I also also really appreciated the whole blind date at the end.
Yes.
Where the friend is saying to her, like, okay, we're gonna set you up, and then she's all disappointed, she's like, pretty much okay with it, but then she kind of starts those feelings with Clayton's character, and you're like, it's gonna be okay. We know something you don't.
Yeah. I thought that was really cute too at the end, where the friends realized they admitted to each other, it wasn't me, I had my friend do it, and he laughs, he's like, I had my friend do it, and then they want to set them up. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
A little blind date at the end, that worked.
It really helped that they had those interactions in person, because they realized how right they are for each other, and they realized that there was something fishy about the interactions online. So it really, and I really liked that they were able to discover that, because that would have been a really hard miss if they hadn't figured something was fishy.
Yeah.
Very hard. And just to the point, because that's the beauty of this story that we said is, repeats itself. But the beauty of that is that they come to the place where they are like, why aren't we dating? Like, I want to date you. I don't want to go on this other date. So she says, I actually have a date. And he's like, oh. And she's like, yeah. And they're kind of, they're disappointed. So they brought them to that point really well. Really believable. Sweet kiss, sweet kiss at the end. He was very romantic. And Love and Where to Find It, I gave it 8 stars, guys. I thought it was a solid, again, with this 2 good ones in a row, I thought, but Love and Where to Find It, like I said, I'm a sucker for this story anyway, and this was a really fun offering. What about you, Kaycee?
Yes, I also gave it an 8 out of 10 for Love and Where to Find It, aka Love is Brewing, because I'm renaming it.
She has taken that prerogative on her.
Love is Brewing. I like it. Cammie, what about you?
I gave it a 7.5 just because I also adore the trope, but the fact that it almost copied word for word You've Got Mail, that did kind of bother me. Yeah. I don't mind the trope being repeated. I'm used to repeated storylines. That happens all the time on these networks. That doesn't bother me. The fact that it was basically a copy of the movie, but it was trying not to be. I was like, that part did bother me a little bit. However, the scenes that they added in, for instance, when they're both spying on the first date, and they're finding out about each other, and learning more about each other, that scene was priceless. That scene was priceless. I thought it was adorable. The toy store scene, when she is disgruntled, but she still tells him what would be good for his nephew's birthday present. It really, and that he tried to pay for the games. It really shows that they had an almost begrudging respect for each other at first, and then that grows into something more. So
how about the horror movie? They go and they join their friends who love horror movies, and both of them are like, they don't love them, but they're there for their friends. And then he says, well, I like comedies and musicals. And she's like, I like musicals. She's so mad.
I did think of you when I saw that scene. I was like, oh, look.
Man after my own heart. Okay, Hallmarkies, I'm coming off of watching West Side Story pretty recently. So
she watched it like 17 times in theaters, but it's fine.
3. But it's still very fresh in my head.
Well, so I just thought that was so
big point. What?
So cute. That was such a cute scene. He admits to liking musicals. She's like, hates that another thing in common.
Yeah. I will say there was a point where I was like, come on, just accept the fact that you guys are meant for each other. It's okay.
Will you get over yourselves?
It's gonna be okay.
And honestly, that she was comparing a big coffee company to her small local business, saying that they're the competition. I could understand after a while him being like, we're not your competition. Like, yes, like he wasn't admitting that he was going to put her out of business, because he basically was. A Starbucks and a local coffee shop, which one's gonna, well, his was Dick's, but she was like, we're competition, like she saw them as equals. I thought that was kind of funny, but she had a good plan, a good baking plan. Anyway, I loved it. 8 out of 10. You guys give it 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, I give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kaycee
and 8
gave
out
it
of
an
10.
eight.
Sorry about that. I wrote that down. So it was so good. It was so cute. And this was a good January. I mean, except for that slow start. I don't know what other people think about Love Second Chance, but we want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you think of these January UpTV movies. So leave a comment on the YouTube channel here if you're watching there, and subscribe so you don't miss any more Once Upon an Uptime reviews from us and the Hallmarkies podcast. Follow Kaycee. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kaycee__Simpson.
Wonderful. Cami, what about you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Cami Drama Girl, and also on Hardy's Hotline.
Ooh, and Hardy's are gonna start rolling in here because it's about a month away, maybe from
Beginning of March.
That's gonna be fun. We'll come over to Instagram. Come over and find me on Instagram at Hallmark Comics, and I'd love to interact with you there. Otherwise, follow Hallmarkies podcast all over social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Follow our or find our website. All of the information is online here for you. So we will see you next month reviewing February UpTV movies. It'll be so much fun. They have a great February tagline. What is it?
Flirty February.
Yay!
We love it.
We do. Whoop, whoop.
All right, we'll see you next month for Flirty February. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.